Are you struggling to catch fish in the ponds that you're at? Can you not catch a cold when you go to a pond? Do you hate pond fishing because you can't catch anything? Well, this is the video for you. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 10 tips on how you can catch more fish in the ponds that you're fishing at. Plus a bonus tip if you stay tuned to the end of the video. Alright, so my tip number one, if you're not catching anything in ponds, is going to be to downsize your lure. If you're fishing with a 5-inch Senko and you're not catching anything, I'd try a 4-inch or a 3-inch. I recommend 4-inch because 3-inch doesn't have like any action. No matter what lure you're using, if you're using something huge and you're not getting any hits, I would downsize the lure. It's going to increase your chance of getting a bite. There we go. There's fish number one on the 4-inch Senko. My tip number two is going to be fish near cover. If you fish out in the middle of the pond, there's a less likelihood that you're going to get a hit than if you fish near the banks or near structure that's underwater. Because the fish are going to lay near the structure and along the banks. They're probably not going to be out in the middle. So in this pond here, I always like to cast over near the bank. And if I don't get a hit there, I'll try the close bank, because there's usually some fish laying over here. Alright, my tip number three is going to be cover more water. If you're not catching fish at one spot, move to a different side of the pond or a different area. Maybe even try a different pond if you have another one available, because if you're not catching any fish in one spot, continuously fishing it isn't going to change anything. There we go, there's fish number two. Oh, he spit it out. Alright, my tip number four is going to be fish during the right time of day. I recommend fishing in the morning or late in the evening when it starts to darken down and cool down. Alright, my tip number five is going to be use lures that match the hatch. And what I mean by that is use realistic looking lures. Right now I'm using a green watermelon pumpkin Senko, which means when it gets in the water, it blends in perfectly with the kind of water I'm fishing and the ground cover. Alright, my tip number six is going to be to fish off site. If you're walking around your pond and you see some fish or you see some fish action, fish near where they are. So if you're seeing something constantly raise, maybe throw in a topwater over by where it's raising. You need to fish where the fish are. So this goes along with moving to the fish. If you see some fish somewhere, I'd go over and try to catch some. Why not? There we go. Oh, fell right off. Easy release. All right, my tip number seven is going to be fish lower pressured ponds. I know some of you might not have that available, but this pond is low pressured and I have permission to fish here. So I try to use it to my advantage. I can catch some fish here and there, and I don't come down every day because I don't want to overstay my welcome. All right, my tip number eight is going to be fish your lures extremely slow. Think of it as the longer you have your lure in the water, the higher chance you have to catch a fish. So if you're slowly twitching your Senko in, like barely twitching it, maybe you give it a good amount of twitches and you let it sit. The longer you have your lure in the water, the higher likelihood you are to catch a fish. So right now, I have one hitting at it, it looks like. Oh, it came off. My tip number nine is going to be switch your lures early and often. If you're not catching anything on one lure, make sure you switch to something. Don't constantly feel like you have to keep fishing that lure. All right, the last and final tip, if you can't catch anything and you've been doing all of these steps, make sure that your line is a low visibility, clear line. Sometimes, if your fish are extremely pressured and they've seen everything, if they see your line, they won't hit the lure. And I have one final tip here. I guess you could say this is tip number 11, but I'm just gonna call it a bonus tip. Don't play loud music or any music while you're fishing, especially if you're close to the banks, because the fish can hear noises, they can hear you talking. If you talk really loud, fish are gonna leave, they're gonna move. They're gonna move away from the loud noise because they don't like loud noises. And I know this is true because I've seen ponds where people come down and mow it, and the fish know they're mowing it, so they don't move. But if you walk up to the edge of the pond and you're talking, even if they can't see you, the fish will move away. So that's how I know that the fish can hear you when you're talking. So try to be quiet when you're fishing. Talking's okay, but blasting loud music, I don't think that's gonna help your chances at catching fish. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I hope this helps you guys catch some more fish. If there's any tips that you came up with that you'd like to let me know, that you want to see in maybe a future video, make sure you let me know in the comments below. And we'll see you next time on Bucky Outdoors. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Go out and catch some fish in your ponds. Stay safe. Happy Labor Day.